Right now in the United States, firearms are the leading cause of death for American children and teens. Now, granted, school shootings are a very small part proportionally of that overall picture, but we know that seeing tragedies like the Nashville school shooting or the violence in our own communities can be very difficult for people to navigate. That's especially so for children. So we just wanted to get more perspective on why and how we can talk with our kids about what they might be seeing or hearing on the news. Joining us now, Laine Taylor, who oversees psychiatry at The Village, which provides youth development and behavioral health resources across Connecticut. Laine, thank you for joining us so early in the morning. We do appreciate it. How are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me. It's a real, I'm really fortunate to be able to have this conversation about such a grave issue, and hopefully it can be helpful to some folks.
Yes, so let's get right to it. Obviously, I'm guessing in most cases talking about this is better than not talking about it, but what advice to parents would you give about when they should, maybe what age level is appropriate to start talking about this, and then how to do it?
Yeah, I think, we often underestimate how much our kids are really taking in. So kids as young as 4 or 3 may be hearing about these kinds of things just passively through conversation with that adults might be having around them, or they may be hearing it on the news that you might be listening to. So if you notice that your kid is listening in or has questions, I think that's the time to have the conversation, and not to sweep it under the rug. Kids have a remarkable ability to know when we're not being forthcoming with them.
Yeah.
So I think if they're ready, if they ask you about it, that's when it's time to talk about it.
Okay. Now, the school shooting portion of this, as I said, just in terms of statistics, it's a very small portion of the gun violence problem and statistically very unlikely to happen in any given spot. But when kids are seeing this happen over and over, I'm sure it's hitting a lot closer to home because they're thinking, well, maybe that could be me, which could lead to some anxiety. So how do you deal with that and sort of keep it in its proper proportion, I guess, for lack of a better word?
Yeah, I think it is really important to have the conversation with your kids about what's going on and what's in the news around gun violence, but especially around school. As parents and teachers, administrators, adults that work with or have children in school, it's scary. It's so scary for all of us. And I think similarly, the kids are very, very scared. And so it's okay to express and open that conversation and say, hey, this is a scary thing. This is something that, I have fear could happen. And how are you feeling about it? What's it like for you at school? What conversations are you having with your teachers, with your friends, and be really open and honest about it. I think it's important to not cover it, but you want to make sure that you can be well sort of supported for yourself, that you're not going to break down emotionally when you have this conversation with your kids, because they want to know that they can feel secure in having this conversation with you. But I think really honestly, it's okay also to say, these are the feelings that I'm having.
Yeah, that is very good. Laine, thank you so much for at least just giving us some good tips on how to get that conversation started. Of course, I know this is something we could talk about for another 15 minutes, but we are out of time. But we do appreciate it because just getting that conversation started is the most important thing. So we certainly do appreciate it. Thank you.